Hello, I'm Paul Crofts from Sheffield CAMRA, and we're currently in the side room of the Fat Cat on Alma Street.
So how did the 42nd Sheffield Beer and Cider Festival go?
It went very well. Again, that was the third year at Casson-Yardley Museum. It went very well. We hit capacity a couple of times, so we've reached a point where there's as many people as we can physically get in. We did pretty well on the beer order. We didn't run out of beer, but we didn't have too much left at the end, and we had a really good selection. We had a lot of people commenting that there was a good selection of beer this time, and I'm pleased to say we got every Sheffield brewery represented as well. The last one was that we managed to get was Regather, who just managed to get us some bottles to sell because they weren't brewing anything on cask at the time. But yeah, we got everybody in, so it went very well.
Excellent. And it was more or less all over Casson-Yardley Museum.
Yeah, the whole site. We had an extra room this year, so yeah, it went really well. They ran the big engine. They ran that a couple of times for us, and yeah, it was very good. Very good. We got more visitors than last year again. I think it was about 1,000 visitors up. We sold more beer, and we actually got a few more volunteers, which was nice. We always need more volunteers, but it was nice to get a few more than last time.
And do you know how many people came in total?
Yeah, it was around 6,000 over the whole 4 days. So we're really pleased with that.
Lovely. And it's run by CAMRA.
Yes.
How much money did you raise, do you know?
Yeah, we raised £2,000 for charity, which was the Sheffield Children's Hospital. It was a combination of donations at the time. People were giving their unused beer tickets in rather than cashing them in for money. They just put them in the charity bucket. Or if people have got their glass, because it's £2 to buy a glass when you come in, you can either return the glass for £2, or a lot of people were just giving us a glass and saying we'll put that in for the charity fund, and then we just rounded it up to £2,000. So we're pleased with that.
Yeah, brilliant. And the charity was
Sheffield Children's Hospital, yeah. So we went down and they did a nice big cheque for us, one of these that's 4 foot wide. And we got a photograph and got it in the press. But yeah, it was nice. It's particularly good that it's a children's charity, really.
So is the beer festival planned for this year?
Yes, provisionally. It's planned for the 25th of October for 4 days. We just need to get the budget approval. The dates have been provisionally booked with the museum, but we just need to get all our budgets submitted, get CAMRA to approve that, and then it's sort of rubber stamped. There will be a festival. We always like more volunteers. There's a lot of work involved in running the festival, and particularly on the committee. There are some functions that are very time consuming, so this year we're trying to get more volunteers to help, but also more people to join the committee and help out with some things, sponsorship, staffing, planning, various things like that. Yeah, so if anybody would like to volunteer to come and help at the festival, and they can help in whatever capacity they want. If they want to come in and do 2 or 3 hours just working behind the bar and nothing else, then that's fine. We'll appreciate that. I think sometimes people worry that they have to volunteer for doing a full day's work or something, but you can come in and do short sessions. All you need to do is, if you want to, even if you're interested and you don't necessarily want to volunteer at this moment, you just want to find out more about it, just email anybody on the CAMRA committee. All our email addresses are in the Beer Matters magazine. Just email, say I'm interested in helping, what's involved, what can I do, and we'll get back to you.
Right. And ideally, do the volunteers have previous bar experience?
No. We'll take people with no experience whatsoever. You know, if they fancy working behind the bar but they've never done it, then we'll bring them in, and the bar manager will just show them how to pull a pint and how the thing works. It's not too difficult. A few basic rules, but follow those and you'll be fine.
Great. And we came along to the festival last year, and the volunteers seem to be having a great time. Have you had any feedback about how they find it?
Yeah, all the volunteers enjoy it, really. It's one of those surprising things that you think you're coming in to do 3 or 4 hours work, but you sort of come in and do just 3 or 4 hours of helping out. When it's finished, you feel quite pleased with yourself that you've helped, and it doesn't really feel like work at all. You know, even things like working on the tokens desk and, you know, working the door and things like that, it's all straightforward, and they're a pretty good team. And then we all have a little trip after the festival. We had a trip to Manchester this year, got a minibus up, and we all went over there and had a few drinks, and it's really good.
Great. And I was going to ask you, Paul, as well about Sheffield Beer Week.
Yes, Sheffield Beer Week. That's not actually organised by CAMRA. That's organised by Jules Gray from Hop Hideout. It's a great thing, Sheffield Beer Week. They organise all manner of events all around the city. A lot of meet the brewer events, special collaboration brews between breweries, things like that. So there's lots of really good things going on, and we do sort of get involved in that. We help out, or we attend several other things. But yeah, it's Jules organising that. But it's on the internet. I believe it's sheffieldbeerweek.co.uk. Nice and simple, and everything's on there. But they keep adding lots of events. That when it finally gets to it, there's usually 2, 3, 4 events going on each day. There's all sorts of things happening, and at the same time we've got the SEBA event, which is the Brewers Association. That's at Ice Sheffield again this year. That's something like 4th year running now, and that Sheffield Beer Week ties in with that. So there's lots of people who are in the brewing industry from outside the city who've come to Sheffield, who will then come to some of the events. So it's a really good week. So yeah, get on the website and have a look. That's Monday the 13th to Sunday the 19th of March.
And there are plans for a Sheffield Ale Trail leaflet.
Yeah, that's something, we've been talking about this for a while, but the idea is that we'll get a leaflet that talks about Sheffield in the light of the university's beer report that says how fabulous we are for beer. We want to try and do something off the back of that. So it'll be a leaflet that tells you all the good places to go and drink in Sheffield. There'll be trails around sort of Kelham, city centre, Hillsborough, this type of thing. And we'd like to do that. We're looking at 2 or 3 different ways of doing it. A big fold-out sheet, series of small leaflets, one big booklet. We're not sure how we'll do it yet. But the real intention is to get something that gives you a good idea of what you can do if you come to Sheffield for a trip round some good pubs or good breweries. And then we want to try and use Marketing Sheffield to actually launch that outside the city for us.
Oh, brilliant.
You know, it's almost preaching to the converted if we produce a leaflet and put it around Sheffield. Everybody knows, you know, where to go for a good drink in Sheffield. But, you know, if we can get that out into other cities so that people in other cities will think, well, Sheffield's got a reputation for being good for the beer, let's go and have a weekend there, then that leaflet will make them think, oh, there's a lot to go at here. You know, so that's the idea behind the leaflet.
And so beer drinking continues to be very popular in Sheffield. Why do you think that is?
Because we're so good at it. Not the drinking, although we're not bad at that. But no, the brewing of it. I think we've got some excellent breweries in Sheffield, lots of them, very interesting breweries, and there's quite a few of them who don't bottle stuff, so they're not even that well known outside Sheffield. So they're a bit of a hidden treasure as far as we're concerned. Again, this is part of the Ale Trail leaflet, is to bring people in to sample beers that they wouldn't necessarily normally get if they're too far away from Sheffield. But yeah, we've got a good reputation for it, so you know, yeah. and in part to the fat cat, really. We're stood now. You know, you look at them blazing a trail all them years ago for real ale pubs and non-smoking pubs, and certainly launched it around here.
Can you describe the fat cat for someone who hasn't been yet?
Yes, it's a traditional old boozer. It really is what it is. I mean, it's not changed a lot for a long number of years, but it's a traditional pub. Quite a small bar, but they sell a good range of beers and some good quality, well-kept beers. They do some nice food, nice home-cooked food on the premises. Fabulous beer garden, including the old Kelham Island brewery. The little building, the outbuilding in the beer garden is where the brewery started. Which you find incredible to believe when you stand and look at it. You think that was the Kelham Island Brewery, that building that seems to be about 3 square foot. So yeah, it's a good traditional old pub.
Yeah, and it seems to have survived. Well, it stood in a wilderness, didn't it? And now Kelham Island's really coming up as a place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. There's a lot of development going on. A lot of houses being put in, and interesting projects as well, like the Little Kelham development. And they're redoing the Green Lane works, so there's lots of interesting things going on. But you're right, it was an oasis in the wilderness for years down here. Well, with the Kelham Island Tavern across the street, the pair of them were doing a good job of keeping the real ale fire going.
So can you update us, Paul, on the situation with the assets of community value?
Yep, there's a couple of them going at the moment. The big success story has been the Plough at Cross Pool, which has got assets of community value on it, but Sainsbury's were taking a lease on from Enterprise and wanted to convert that into a supermarket, local Sainsbury's, local, whatever they call them. There's been a big campaign to get that stopped, and luckily, just only last week, the council came down on the side of not allowing not giving them permission to change it into a supermarket. What the next step is, I'm not quite sure, because whether or not Enterprise will put it up for sale, that remains to be seen, and if they do, whether or not the local community group will get together and find enough funds to buy it. That's not impossible, because it's just happened with the Gardener's Rest. The group managed to raise £200,000 to buy the Gardener's Rest, so it is possible that it might happen. The disappointing thing with that is that Enterprise have been putting that forward as a non-viable pub for some years, but obviously their ulterior motive was to lease that off to Sainsbury's. Now, if you can prove that it doesn't work as a pub, then why should you not sell it to Sainsbury's? So they've not looked after it. They've not looked after the building. I mean, the roof leaks. There's various other things that they've just not done. They've not made any effort to make it a successful pub. You suspect they've even been putting measures in to stop anybody from making it a successful pub, simply to allow them to just present it as a non-viable business. But luckily, at the moment, that's not worked. So we'll see what happens. But the council have come down and said, no, that's not it. The other one that's the big problem for us is the University Arms. Because we've applied for an ACV status on that twice now, and the council have refused on both occasions, because we believe the university want to try and demolish that as part of their plans for the area. Obviously we'd like to keep it because it's a fantastic pub. It's a building that's been around a long time. Great building, great pub. It's got an upstairs room. There's quite a few walking groups and things meet in there. So exactly the type of pub we want to hang on to. Because as we say in all these cases, once it's gone, it's gone. Could have been there for 100 years, but if someone decides they want to knock it down and use it for something else, that's it. It's never coming back. So we keep battling on that one. Difficult, because obviously the university spend a lot of money in the city, which is appreciated. We don't have any problem with the university, but they do have an awful lot of clout with the council because of that. So we know that's a difficult struggle, that one, but we'll keep at it. We're here to try and protect the pubs, and I'm sure university students like pubs anyway, so we'll keep doing what we can.
And it's great news about the Gardener's Rest, isn't it, that's going to be continuing?
Yeah, because that's a great pub, the Gardener's Rest. Fabulous beer garden. So yeah, it's nice to know that will be carrying on. And I think because of the amount of development around Kelham, there's going to be a lot more people living down here, so there should be a lot more people who want to go and have a drink in the pub, so it should be a thriving pub. You go for it in the end, bourbon milk stout.